Hello there, welcome to New Compass Games. Going to be doing an EMA draft today. This is going to be my first recorded draft of the EMA format and my third online draft. I've done a few in-store events as well. I did 4 EMA drafts live at a local store and went 10-1. So I did a couple of drafts online after that, thinking I'd be ready to go in the format, and I ended up going 1-5. So the big difference between the store and online drafts I found was the mana fixing. The online drafts, I wasn't able to get a lot of the dual lands, which in store I was picking up 8 or 9 dual lands in the draft, and I was at least 3 colors in every single draft. Usually like a 3 or 4 color control deck, splashing for all the most powerful cards. I think online people just have a little bit better understanding of what the good cards are, so I wasn't getting past as much of the high quality like rares and uncommons. So there wasn't as much reason for me to splash, and there was a higher priority on the dual lands themselves by the online drafters, so I wasn't able to get as many dual lands out of the pod. So we'll see how it goes this time. We'll be playing a Phantom Swiss draft. A couple of reasons for that. One, the primary reason is that the value of EMA Online is really bad. So if you draft for real, where you actually keep the cards, most of the cards aren't worth a lot online, whereas they're very expensive in paper. Something like Caracas, a $100 card or $90 card is $2 online. And the only cards that are actually that pay for your draft if you open them are Force of Will and Wasteland. The drafts, if you do a real draft, it's like $25. Those are the only 2 cards that are worth more than 25 tickets online. So value-wise, it's better to do the Swiss Phantom drafts. Second, people just draft a lot differently. People would be rare drafting, taking all the money cards if it were a keep draft. And this way we get to just kind of do a real draft based on power level of the cards and nothing else. And then third, we actually get to play Swiss rounds, so we'll get to play all 3 rounds with our deck regardless of our result. And looks like the draft just fired, so we can get started. Best cards here I think are red. We have Mana War stands out, and Sprite Noble seem very good. But there's also Firebolt. And Keldon Champion could be good in a very aggressive red deck, which I haven't drafted. There's like a white-red token, Rally the Peasants deck, which is, I think, very good. I do lean towards the 3-color decks, where Pilgrim's Eye is very good. Usually you can get these pretty late, which helps the mana fixing quite a bit. So you get a few dual lands and a couple of Pilgrim's Eye, and your mana is perfect for 3 colors or more. I think for me it's either Sprite Noble or Firebolt. I haven't drafted the Elf deck, but Elvish Vanguard has been very good against me, and that archetype has looked very strong. I think I'll take the Sprite Noble, even though... Firebolt just seems more consistent. That could be wrong, but I think the floor on Firebolt is pretty high, so it's worth just grabbing that one. And here, Faith's Fetters is a very strong removal spell. There's also another Firebolt. I like Faith's Fetters a lot, though. Warden of Evil's Isle is also pretty good. If we had taken that Sprite Noble, then we'd probably take it Warden second pick. But I think Faith's Fetters is powerful enough that we can grab that one. Two of the decks that I drafted in person were like Esper control decks. The first draft that I'd ever done was a first pick Maelstrom Wanderer, and I played like a 4-color Maelstrom Wanderer deck, which was very good. Chrome Mox I don't think is very good. You have to 2-for-1 yourself to accelerate your, by a land, accelerate by a mana. So you get ahead 1 turn on mana, but it's a 2-for-1. Probably just taking Carbonize here. Loading up on removal spells is never a bad way to start a limited draft. There's also Mogwar Marshal, which in white-red is quite good. We might wheel this dual land, which would be nice to see. Knight's Whisper is another card I'm interested in. Mardu, I think, is a decent color combination. You get to take, like, Mardu tokens with sacrifice effects. Plague Witch, I think, is good. Llanowar Elves is always good. Dragon Egg, if we have some sacrifice synergies, could be good. War Priest of Thune. There's like a green-white enchantment deck, but I don't think that archetype is particularly strong, so it's not as necessary. There are also pacifisms in this format. So the War Priest effect could be useful. I think Squadron Hawk is just the pick, though. If you get a few of these, especially in white-red, there are a lot of ways to pump your team with an Anthem effect, and so getting multiple flyers can give you a lot of value. Also, Hookmaster is quite good, but I don't know that we're going to be aggressive yet, so I think I'll just take the Squadron Hawk. Okay. I think along with the Squadron Hawk, we can take a Soul Catcher. Field of Souls looks good. I think it would be good with the Squadron Hawks, but in white-red we'll probably get a lot of token makers, so this only triggers off of non-tokens. You get to put a 1/1 Spirit onto the battlefield whenever a non-creature token, or a non-token creature dies. But Soul Catcher, I think, will be good. If we get more Squadron Hawks, that synergy is decent. White-red is not really the Flyers deck. That'd be more blue-white. But I think this card is good enough that we can grab it here. There's also another Mogwar Marshal. The Peregrine Drake is one that I wasn't sure about, but if you have enough ways to gather card advantage, then being able to play a 2/3 for free is pretty good. But if you're untapping and not really doing much with the mana, then it's obviously a lot less useful. Shaman of the Pack is one of the better cards for elves, but that seems like the kind of archetype that's really hard to jump into because you need a specific reason to jump into an archetype that narrow. It's hard to just kind of end up in the elf deck. Getting a late Shaman of the Pack is one way to do it, but we're not anywhere close to ending up there, but someone to our left probably will be. I don't see much for us. Unfortunately, we can just take this dual land. I mean, the Hondens do seem pretty good, and if we get the white and the red one, it's actually very good. So we might splash the Honden. Haven't actually tried drafting the Honden deck, but I've seen it done before, and it always looks powerful, and people have had good success with it. 7 mana 5/5 that can basically wrath the board. Seems like a powerful card. I'm surprised to see it here this late. I'm not really sure what that says. Welkin Guide doesn't really do anything that I'm interested in. It's an aggressive card that I'm not particularly looking for. Wildfire Emissary is also pretty good as like a sideboard card. But we haven't seen a lot of red, so... Oh, I guess I clicked on the Emissary. I thought I was taking the black flyer, but apparently not. Emissary is not a bad pick, though. Here we have Tooth and Claw. If you have a lot of token makers, maybe it can be good, because you can sacrifice any 2 creatures, not just tokens. Or not just non-token creatures. So if you have like a Raise the Alarm, you can turn it into 2 3/1s. We're not doing that at the moment. Maybe we want this Fervent Cathar. White-red probably is going to be aggressive, although that's not the kind of deck that I'm usually looking to draft, especially if we're doing a Honden thing. So I think we'll take the Honden out for now, but we'll keep an eye on it. Mog Fanatic is decent in red-white. Seen a lot of these werebears. guess if we end up Mardu, well, we should take Werebear. It's probably just the best card left in that pack. And we've seen enough green that maybe we would end up being in green. Wheeling a Margwar Marshal is pretty nice, I think. And red-white will want the token generators for the most part. Undying Rage. I have not played with this card. It comes back like Rancor, I guess, right? You can make it so an opponent's creature can't block by putting this on it, or you can put it on your own creature and then get it back when your creature dies. Take a Cliffs in case we end up splashing blue for some reason. Could have taken the spider there and just potentially gone into red-green. That's still an option, I guess. We don't really have a reason to be white. We could just splash the Faith's Fetters. Really the only reason to be white for us is that our red cards are a little bit better in a red-white deck because of the tokeny aggressive synergies that we have going on so far. Another Carbonize I think is going to be our pick since we know that we're going to be red. What else do we have here? Roar of the Worm. We still don't have ways to sacrifice creatures, so Dragon Egg is not likely going to be doing anything for us. Could take a Windscarred Crag to help us splash this Faith's Fetters. But Carbonize, I think, is going to be our pick here. Beetleback Chief is exactly what red wants, although Chain Lightning is never a bad card either. If we wheel Curdape, that could be a really good, position for our red-green deck. I think I'd be hoping to wheel that since it did look like green was more open than white. And if we can get multiple Curdapes, that's even better than getting multiple Squadron Hawks. Here, I think I'll take the Chain Lightning, even though Beetleback Chief is just so good in a token deck. We don't really have a way yet to take advantage of the tokens. If we had to Rally the Peasants, then I think we'd be more inclined to take the Beetleback Chief. Rally the Peasants is a +2/+0 at instant speed to your team, and that's for 2 and a white, and you can flash it back for 2 and a red. Another Firebolt is sure good enough, I think, for this pick here. Could also take Raise the Alarm. Second Green Honden is not as good as the first since they're legendary. I didn't know that at first, but all the Hondens are legendary enchantments. Llanowar Elves, if we do end up playing green, we're not going to play as much green as we are red. We're probably going to be base red, and so Llanowar Elves is a lot worse in that type of a mana base. But I think just taking another Firebolt is pretty good. We don't have many creatures. Ooh, Rorik's Bladewing. Now that is a way to end a game. So that pays us off for being mostly mono-red at this point. Wouldn't mind maybe taking Keldon Marauders as well, if we got that card back. We're not an Enchantress deck. The Hookmaster also would be good. Void is pretty powerful. I don't know if Void is better than Avarax. Or actually Sting Scourger. If we're aggressive, Sting Scourger is good, but I don't know that we're going to be doing much with the aggressive part of this deck. We don't have an aggressive curve, we just have a bunch of removal, which means we're kind of playing like a red control deck. So the Sting Scourger, not as good there. I think the Avarax could be good. I haven't played with it, but I've seen it, played with, and it was okay. Don't know if we're going to be black for splashing Void. I think Avarax is good enough. We could also take the dual land. This pick could be wrong. I know Void is very powerful, so it might be worth it to go for that. This time we'll take Borderland Marauder. This is a pretty aggressive card. We don't have many low drops. We have just 2, and both of them are sort of on the cheap tokeny side of things. This Undying Rage is pretty bad, and this Fervent Cathar is pretty bad. Those both make me want to be more aggressive, though, which the Borderland Marauder is good with. Entomb is very powerful, but there's nothing that we can do with it at the moment. I just don't think it goes with the rest of our plan. Rally the Peasants here also is strong. We don't really have a lot of tokens to take advantage of it yet, though, so I'd rather just stay in mono red, and then we'll see what happens the rest of the draft. Seal of Strength is potentially worth playing. It's basically a giant growth that your opponent's going to see coming, though, because you have to play it as a sorcery speed enchantment first. That being said, 1 mana for +3/+3, even if your opponent knows about it, it's not always something that they can profitably play around. But I think Stink Scourger is probably just good enough in our if we play an aggressive red deck. 2/2 for 2 that bounces something is pretty nice. Another Avarax is great since you can search up multiple copies with the first one. If we knew that we were white, maybe the Hookmaster is better here, just because it is a more aggressive card than the Avarax, even though this has haste. Being 5 mana, I don't really want that many 5 mana finishers. But I think our early turns are going to be mostly removal, and then we have some like big late game finishers that will close out the game in a hurry. This is tough. Plague Witch I think is good. Carrion Feeder can be good if you have token synergies, which our red deck does have. I don't think the Bodyguard is that good. I don't know if it's Carrion Feeder or Bodyguard. Maybe Bodyguard is good if you're doing an Undying Rage kind of thing. Although I don't know if we're actually doing that. If we end up black, splashing Carrion Feeder is not really the way to go. So I probably should have taken the Bodyguard there. Mistral Charger is just a good 2-drop. Take Seal of Cleansing as a sideboard card. Or we could take Skulking Ghost as another aggressive card. I don't really have a preference towards white or black at this point. We have a few more powerful white cards that make us want to play white, I suppose. Keldon Marauders getting back is nice. I'm going to take the dual land here. That way we can maybe splash the Faith Fetters if we don't end up playing white as our second color. Or it just helps our mana anyway, since we want to have so many red sources. Sure, take the Relic as a sideboard card. So being mono red here is pretty nice. Battle Squadron, is that good? I don't know that it is. Winter Orb would be good if we were more load in the ground red aggressive deck, but since we have a bunch of expensive threats ourselves, we probably don't want that. Necrotol is a reason to be black, and there is another Squadron Hawk here. What do we have for creatures? We have 1/1-drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2-drops. That's pretty nice to see. That makes our Undying Rage actually pretty decent. A couple of these make additional bodies too. The Mogwar Marshal, Squadron Hawk potentially can search up more things, but we already have 2 5-drops, so maybe we don't want this Battle Squadron. I don't know how good that card is anyway. Can you have too many Firebolts? Is that possible? Maybe I'll take another Squadron Hawk. With 2 Firebolts already, just take the 2nd Squadron Hawk so that we can actually have something to search up. And we just take Fervent Cathar. Just another aggressive card. All these 2-drops are great with our 1-mana removal spells. Dualcaster Mage is probably worth picking up here. We have 3 cheap spells that we can copy with it, plus we can obviously copy our opponent's stuff too. Maybe it's not better than Rally the Peasants though. I think that might be a little bit more important for what we're trying to do. I'm going to take the Dualcaster Mage. I think just going with the rare, since I'm not sure between these two, I'll go with the rare and try it out. Can we abuse this white main lion in any way? We can rebuy a Keldon Marauder. Not that great. Rebuy the War Marshal, rebuy the Sting Scourger, Fervent Cathars, Dualcaster Mages. There are some things that we can do with it, but I don't know if it's better than taking another dual land. And there's a 2/2. This guy is a little bit better in our deck because, like I said, this is an aggressive card. We're building an aggressive deck here. These are the decks that I've failed with, by the way. When I'm 3 and 4 color control, I've done well in this format. When I've tried to play like a 2-color streamlined deck, I just have not done well. But hopefully that changes. I guess I'll take another 2-drop. We just want as many 2-drops as possible. Vindicate. Can we splash that? I don't think so. We do have a Hookmaster here, which is a very good 3-drop for this deck. I'm not going to take the Elite Vanguard because you really need that on turn 1 if you're going to be playing it. Sphinx of the Steel Wind. We can't beat that card. Not if it resolves. I mean, hopefully are killing our opponent before they get 7 or 8 mana. If they reanimate it though, then we're super dead. There are decks where I guess Price of Progress could be good. You know, like I mentioned, there are some decks that play multiple dual lands. I've had like 6 or 7 in a deck before. I still don't know if that's good enough for us to play this. Bloodfell Caves, we could splash a Duress. It's probably unlikely. I guess we're more likely to play Price of Progress than anything else. We could also take Elite Vanguard. I'm just a little leery about whether we'd have enough white sources to cast that early enough. Wow, Maelstrom Wanderer? There's no way that should still be in the pack. That's insane. I wish we had opened that pack 1, or I wish we were in 2 of these colors at least, so then we'd be able to splash for it. Yeah, that's just crazy. I guess we take a Keldon Marauders. Could also take a Shelter. That's an effect that we don't have. We're mostly relying on removal to clear the way rather than Shelter to protect from removal on the other side. I think Keldon Marauders is good enough that we want it though. Wall of Omens. Now we can take a Rally the Peasants. It's really tough because I want this Hookmaster also, but Rally seems like is it even what we want to be doing? We have 2 Squadron Hawks, we have a War Marshal, and that's about it. We don't have a bunch of tokens. If we had Rally the Peasants or Young Pyromancer, then we could probably want Rally, but I think in this deck we just want the Hookmaster. And we probably want this Undying Rage. And we can take out the Avarax. Probably put the Emissary in the sideboard. We're gonna have to make a lot of cuts here, but God, it feels so bad to play Undying Rage. I don't know if this is right or not. It kind of feels right with all of these 2-drops that we have. Ooh, we get a Rally anyway if we want it. That's good. Yeah, we have a lot of cuts to make here. I think I'm going to be taking out the token part of our deck, which is like Mogwar Marshal, Rally the Peasants. This Welcome Guide is unlikely to be doing anything for us. Is Dual Caster Mage good? Doesn't seem bad. Seems alright. We could cut the top of our curve and play more, or play fewer lands. This is more like a spell, because we're just going to use it as a bounce spell, not really planning on paying the Echo. Soulcatcher could probably go. We only have a couple flyers now. We have 1, 2, 3 flyers. That's about it. Get that guy out of here. Let me double check Undying Rage, make sure that we actually do want to play it. I would love to cut these, but I just think they are pretty good. Alright, so they can be removable in a pinch, since as long as you're not racing, you can put it on your opponent's creature and that creature cannot block. And then as long as it resolves, if the creature is bounced or dies or whatever and the aura falls off, then you get it back into your hand. So it seems pretty decent. Stuff, because I think we have to cut some of the spells. We want to keep our creature count pretty high, at least 16. We could cut one creature maybe. I'm not sure what that would be. Probably the Dual Caster Mage. I don't think it's doing much except for copying a Firebolt or a Chain Lightning, which is very good. But I think it might not be aggressive enough for what we want to be doing. And then I want to probably cut a spell to go down to 17 lands, since we have the Blade Wing at 6. The Avarax is a mana sink also. And then we have these Firebolts that we want to be able to flash back, so we probably have a lot to do with our mana. I'm looking at Sting Scourger, maybe a Fnatic. I thought the Fnatic was okay just because we can, we just want another body to be able to put our Undying Rages on, but with this many 2-drops, maybe we don't need it. Yeah, I think I'll cut the Fnatic. The 1 damage effect is pretty nice, actually, against a lot of creatures in the format. There are a lot of X1s. So we probably will end up sideboarding that a decent amount. But in the main deck, I guess I'll just go with this, this build. And it's a pretty streamlined version of this deck, which I think is good. We have a straightforward game plan here. And we have 1 mana fixer, which is nice. Alright. I don't want to go that heavily on the red. I think 11 red sources is plenty to be able to cast our double red and triple red spell. And we want 7 white sources because, they are 2-drops. We want to be able to cast our white spells as well. I think that's more important than being able to cast our 1 triple red spell. This is probably good. 17 lands, 7 white sources, and 11 red sources. Yeah, looks good to me. Let's submit and see how it does.